So there's a couple things you can do. If you know CAD, you can use CAD. I use some sort of, I can't even remember, and I can't find it on my computer. I think I deleted it. But I found this app for a that would basically kick out a CAD file of a design I put together. But what I actually started with, can you buy one of these? Yes. Are they as cool as this one? No. Because this one's custom, and I made it all by myself. Xarcade is the company that's known for making these things. I took their layout and I started there. Okay, how far do they have their buttons from their joysticks? Okay, how far apart are the buttons? That sort of thing. But then I took it and I manipulated it to get what I wanted. What did I do? I started printing. I printed things at actual size. How did you do this? I used Excel, and Excel will kick out if you put a 24 by 36 inch photograph or picture in Excel, and you print it, and you tell it to print tile, it will kick out like 30 sheets, and then you just have to put them together like a jigsaw puzzle. And then I got some cardboard and started building actual cardboard prototypes and making people play them and tell me what they thought. The buttons are too far apart. The buttons are too close together. I think the joystick needs to be a little bit to the left. I think the joystick needs to be a little to the right. Enlist your friend. I inflicted this on our video game club at school. They were not actually very impressed. So this is when it started. This was my first prototype layout. What I ended up doing was I cut out, this is actual 1 1/8 inch dots that I could tape and manipulate. And you can see where I was whiting stuff out. You can see I was whiting stuff out when I changed my mind. So I went through and I came up with something like, this is, I'm going to put the trackball here, I'm going to put the hole for the spinner here, and then I found out the spinner only needed one of these holes, so whatever. And then I started building prototypes, which I brought. I did not put them back together. I honestly don't know if they're going to go together. But I built the sides with the little, because I put the coin in buttons on, you have to have a coin in button. A lot of them put it on the side. It's a good place to put it. If I ever want to get into pin MAME, which they don't make for Mac, then I could, use it for pin MAME. Pin MAME is pinball emulation. This is the first one I did. At first, I did have the trackball on top. And that was very, very quickly, I discovered that was a bad idea. Because if the spinner's down here and the trackball's up here and you're doing this, you get some really interesting road rash from your spinner on your arm. So I also put it together so I could see how big it was. I'm a visual person, and I'm a kinesthetic person. I need to have things I can manipulate. This is my living room floor. This is my entertainment center, and I knew how much space is this thing going to take up in my living room. So I started building prototypes. This is the weird shape that the trackball is underneath. This is the file that weird pseudo-CAD program I downloaded kicked out for me. It kicked out a CAD file, like a straight CAD file. But the trick there are freeware things that will convert like a CAD file to a PDF. Or if you're me, you go to the CAD teacher in your school and you say, can you make this into a PDF for me? And she does. So how did you do that? I went to my CAD teacher. I was like, help. So I started, okay, now, and the other thing that you want to prototype, very carefully, is the pitch. You don't want it to be level. You if you think about if you go to an arcade and you think about all the machines, the control panel is tilted up towards you to make it more comfortable. What pitch do you want? I'm going to say I got a lot of these measurements from the Xarcade, but this was, so I ended up, This is the pitch I want, this is the size I want. Okay, let's see how strong this cardboard really is. And start attaching stuff to it. Like I said, this is not the place you want your spinner. This was a bad idea. And in this case, this is the first one I did. The buttons are a little bit farther. It doesn't really show on the photograph, but the buttons are a little bit farther apart. And this is the one where people were telling me that the buttons were too far apart and they couldn't, like playing fighting games, you couldn't do your combos properly. I like fighting games, so I have a bunch of fighting games on here. That's why I did the straight 6. I'm old school. So I got the parts, I got the stuff wired up. The trackball's just sitting on top for now. I'll get into that in a little bit. I also started, obviously, playing with design ideas. The Civil War hype was just starting when I was doing this project, and I am unabashedly #Team Iron Man. So I thought it would be really cool to do an Iron Man versus Captain America Civil War theme for my controller. So this was just kind of my beginning of the kind of what can I do design stage. And then I built another prototype, and I'm going to pass these around. These have been in the back of a closet. That actually has everything mounted on it. I did end up figuring out how to undermount this. I don't have a picture of that. But you can see, if you look really close, right here, you can see where I changed my mind. And I had to do a fill-in so I could put the spinner there. So that's what's cool about cardboard. You can change your mind. Save your scratch, change your mind. You're gonna see, when I pass this around, you can see how much tape and stuff is on here. I did end up, and I'm going to talk about how I did the undermounting in a little bit. And this actually, so I'll pass that around. This actually hung out on my living room floor for, I finished prototyping in October, and I did not get a chance to actually start building until my summer vacation, so I used it like this for, 6 or 7 months. You could theoretically stop here. I wasn't going to stop there, but if you really wanted to do something, if you wanted to do this on the quick and dirty, you can do it. If you have enough cardboard, you can do it. Where'd you get all those really cool parts? There are lots of places to get the really